It's also not part of your First Amendment right to go in, all of the protesters who went in there and stormed the church. You don't have a First Amendment right to just storm a private entity and start yelling and screaming at them. You could do it on the sidewalk. You could do it on public property. Your First Amendment rights don't extend to anything inside of private property. And remember, the point of it is that you have the right to protest your government. You have the right to protest whatever. You have the right to redress your grievances. But that is with the government, not with a church. So let's review some of what actually happened to see if Don Lemon here may be in a little bit of trouble. Maybe he went a little bit above and beyond his First Amendment right. And we have the receipts because he just live streamed it all. So like we have all of the footage. We already know he invaded private property. He was there inside the church. He stormed the church as well. So that's strike one, Don. Then, did he maintain his journalistic neutrality? Remember, that's what the legal advice said. It said you have to be neutral. If you're doing something like following a bunch of people that you know are committing a crime, but you feel that it is your journalistic right, it is your journalistic duty to follow them and document it, you shut the hell up and you do it. Now, I don't know what you think. I think the receipts prove otherwise. Watch.
The MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this assistant attorney general, I don't know, what's her name? It's something Hammett.
It's Harmeet Dillon, Mr. 30-year journalist.
I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests.
Oh, he didn't know.
And once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism. These are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up. And it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, can't tell you where they're going.
We're doing it, though.
Right now.
We're doing it.
And then we're going to head over to Whipple, and we're just going to show you what's happening on the ground.
Oh, well, hold on, Don. Hold on. Time out. You said afterwards, after you had been caught, you said afterwards, I had no idea, didn't know where they were going. But then I committed an act of journalism. That's all I did. I just followed them. Wherever the case may lead, I just followed them. But curiously, much different tune beforehand when he literally lumps himself into the group of people by saying, we are going to go do this. I know where we're going. I can't tell you, but we are going there. Much different tune than what he said afterwards when he was caught. So remember, he clearly knew. He was in on it. He groups himself in on the same group that we already know committed these violations. And on top of that, does this seem like Don Lemon is maintaining neutrality while talking to the preacher of this church?
We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left. So.
What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here. Yes. Okay. That's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
I mean, the audacity of a homosexual man to be like scolding a pastor about what Jesus would do is like actually insane to me. I think Jesus says it's exit only. That's what I think. like the audacity of this guy to go up to criticize the pastor. And remember, he said in his little before the protest, when he's like, we got a surprise for you, he said, that's what this woman does. She organizes these Operation Pull-Up events or whatever the hell he called it. And he said where they go in there and they surprise these people and they hold them to account. Like, who are you holding to account by going in and storming a church and terrorizing church members? None of this is tracking, Don. None of this is an act of journalism. How about Don Lemon belittling churchgoers?
I've been out reporting on a lot of these, and they're not targeted. There are no warrants signed by a judge, let me finish. And they're American citizens, many of them. Most of the people that they detain don't have criminal convictions or criminal records.
I'm not going to get into the weeds.
But you should know that, though. Don't you think that's part of it?
Yes, and I could also show you many opposing sides where we're also picking up the very criminals that have put Americans in danger. And I'm not saying it's pretty. I'm not saying it's not messy. I'm not saying it couldn't be better. I'm saying this is a part of a much larger dialogue in which one administration caused a great deal of chaos and havoc and danger for American citizens, and another is trying to correct that.
Do you believe that? Why honestly,
okay.
let me talk to you just on the
not
facts.
A journalist.
Yes, I am. I want to give you the facts.
No.
Did you know that undocumented people and immigrants commit far less crime than American citizens?
Is that neutrality? Is that neutrality, Don? Dude, you're screwed. You are screwed. You are caught in 4K not committing an act of journalism, as it turns out. And by the way, remember, it couldn't happen to a more deserving guy because as he was a part of this, he was like mocking the children. Like, well, these kids are walking out. They look pretty traumatized, but it's time for them to learn pretty early on that, hey, it's just what the First Amendment is about. Watch
this guy here. Look, he's hugging his kid. And, you know, I've imagined it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here, but again, careful, it's very slippery right here. Yeah. It's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here, but that's what really, careful, please, really slippery. Not kidding.
It's uncomfortable.
That's
sometimes
what
the First Amendment is uncomfortable, and it's just good that these kids can learn that as early, as young as possible. It's just what the First Amendment is about. Like, could you, I would respect these people more if they weren't just so blatantly retarded. Like, know what you're talking about, dude. You call yourself a journalist. You want to tell everyone that I'm a journalist for 30 years, and you still don't understand that the First Amendment has nothing to do with your right to storm private property. Like, that is not part of it. And you don't get to follow, like, you are not acting as a journalist. You're going in there, you're instigating things. You're criticizing the pastor of a church. You're going back and forth belittling the churchgoers. If you want their opinion, you hold the mic out and you get their opinion. You're going, do you really believe that? Come on. Actually, let me explain to you why you're wrong. That is not maintaining neutrality. And by the way, let's talk about maintaining neutrality. Let me show you what an impartial journalist. He just committed an act of journalism, and he is so impartial that he went on later to go tell this trans woman or what, she looks trans. I'm told that I guess she's a biological female. Could have fooled me. Here's what he had to say to this Democrat hack.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
Oh, well, hold on. So now the church members are white supremacists? So did you only engage in Operation Pull-Up because they were white? Because now I'm just thinking maybe they should look into upgrading the charges to a hate crime. I have you on 4K explaining that I guess they deserved it because they were white. And now because they are white, they must be white supremacists. And that's why what you did was okay. Maybe the folks over at the DOJ should be looking for whether or not they should upgrade this to a hate crime. By the way, this man has also called for an armed uprising. Just as an impartial journalist, he's called for an armed uprising against ICE explicitly.
Black people, brown people of all stripes, whether you're an Indian American or a Mexican American or whoever you are, go out in your place where you live and get a gun legally, get a license to carry legally. Because when you have people knocking on your door and taking you away without due process as a citizen, isn't that what the Second Amendment was written for?
Did someone add lisps there? Did I swear, Steven, did I like that? He doesn't normally lisp like that, does he?
I actually wasn't really listening because Chris gave me some breaking news to break for this, that he officially was charged with federal civil rights crimes in this protest as well.
Hell yes. Hell yes. Throw the book at these bastards. Hell yes. Oh my God. Just inject that into my veins. By the way, I don't use drugs. It's just a joke. But if I did, I could inject that and that would get me totally high. I would be riding high for the rest of the day. And by the way, I want to remind you guys, he was arrested after he was indicted by a grand jury. This was not President Trump unilaterally being a dictator. This was a grand jury of his peers. I believe it was in Minnesota, who decided, yeah, it turns out you can't do that. This is incredible. We need more of it. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.